In today's video, I will be attempting to beat Act 1 of Baldur's Gate 3 solo as Queen Marika. Now for his playthrough, I am using the Eternal Queen set mod that gives you her full outfit and hammer. I'm also playing this on Honor mode, which is the highest difficulty in Baldur's Gate 3. It gives bosses legendary actions, increases enemies' health and damage, and if you die, you are presented with two choices. Either continue the campaign in custom mode, which ends Honor mode, or in the campaign, which ultimately deletes the save. Now with all that being said, let's begin. First, starting in character creation, for race I chose human and went with the cleric class. I chose the light domain subclass. I chose noble for the background and changed my ability points around to this setup. I chose acrobatics as the racial skill proficiency and insight and medicine for my other skill for proficiency. Now for the appearance, I tried my best and this is how it turned out. With the character creation done, let's get into the run. We start the run being released from the pod, then meet up with Lielak. I have her jump off the Nautiloid and deal with all of the imps. I move on to this room and collect and equip Marika's gear. I make my way towards the helm, and after entering, I deal with some of the enemies, then activate the transponder. We start Act 1 by waking up on the beach, then leveling up, choosing alert for my feet. I then head to the camp and equip some gear to help with my build and stats. The most important ones being the Storm Giant Strength Gauntlets to increase my strength stat to 29 and help me do an extra 3 to 24 lightning damage. Also the Ring of Major Wisdom that increases my wisdom by 3, and the Shade Daughter's Ring that increases my wisdom and armor class by 2. I also get a cantrip Divine Missile that I will use a lot as well. To go over the build really quickly, the Queen dress has Mantle of Inspiration. When you are hit with a melee attack, enemies become charmed. And this is important because the Queen's hammer guarantees critical hits on charmed enemies. The Queen hammer also applies spellcasting ability modifier to attack rolls instead of dexterity, which for clerics is wisdom. And I increase my strength just for higher melee damage. The Queen dress also gives 2 class action, Hollowed Slice, which I won't use often, and Queen Shriek. And the hammer also has Divine Breaker, that's an AoE attack that has a 20 feet radius, and I will pair this with the light domain's cleric's Radiance of the Dawn class action. This has a 30 feet radius to help me in fights where I'm outnumbered to deal a ridiculous amount of AoE damage. Currently with all my gear equipped, I'm sitting at 29 strength and 22 wisdom. So not only am I doing a lot of melee damage, but I also have a higher attack roll, so it's less likely for me to miss attacks. Okay, let's now continue with the run. Before heading to the Druid's Grove, I deal with all the enemies in the area. First with the Intellect Devourers, then with the bandits outside the chapel, and I level up before I fought the second group of bandits. I multi-class into fighter, choosing dueling for my fighting style. I then help fight off the goblins at the gate and enter the grove. I talk with Kaga, then head over to this chest that has a torn note in it and read it so I can start her boss fight later. I leave the grove and deal with the goblins inside the underground passage. I level up after reaching the Blighted Village, going for my second level of fighter, choosing ability improvement for my feet, and I increase my wisdom by 2. I make my way over to the Risen Road to do the Knoll boss fight. I then rescue Counselor Floric and Benro from burning inside of Joaquin's Rest. I leveled up afterwards and go for my 3rd level of fighter, selecting Battle Master for my subclass and selecting Menacing Attack, Repost, and Evasive Footwork for my maneuvers. I head over to the Blighted Village to attack the 3 ogres, then head over to the Druid Sanctuary and fight the creatures next. I then collect a letter to Kaga and head back to the Emerald Grove for her boss fight. Now it was time to deal with the goblin camp. I started the gate dealing with all the enemies here, then attacked the small group of goblins that are separated from the main group. I then deal with the rest of the goblins and level up, going for my 4th level of fighter and selecting ability improvement for my feat, maxing out my wisdom and increasing my constitution by 1. I then continued to fight my way through the inside of the goblin camp and attack Priestess Gut first. I deal with Mithara next, then attack the last group of enemies, which were Raxlin. Before leaving the camp, I deal with all the goblins in the Zero area and free house it. With the goblin camp dealt with, I next headed over to fight Auntie Ethel. I dealt with all of her minions first, and eventually made it down towards her boss fight area. After receiving the hag's hair, I got my last upgrade of wisdom, putting me at 26 wisdom. I level up again and get my 5th level of fighter and get an extra attack for my weapons now. It was now time to head towards the monastery trail, but first I dealt with the Githyanki at the mountain pass. Once I entered the mountain pass, I attacked the death shepherds and ghouls here. I then headed over to buy some new gear from this vendor. I ended up getting some boots that increased my armor class, a shield that increased my armor class by 4, and a bow that grants me fire and cold damage resistance. Some of the items also had spells on them, but I do not end up using them. I also will not be using the bow in combat, I only have it equipped for the resistant bonus. I made my way over to the monastery next, and fight my way towards the Githyanki. I level up before making it to the crest entrance, and go for my 6th level fighter, and select Savage Attacker for my feat. I make my way into the captain's quarter, and deal with the commander and the other enemies here. I then headed to the Inquisitor's chambers to fight the boss here next. Once the Inquisitor is dealt with, I talk with Blacketh, and she asks me to kill the Dream Visitor inside the prison. I accept, then head inside the actual prison. I level up again and choose 2 more maneuvers and tough for my feat. I talk with my Dream Visitor next, and I refuse to kill them. Then I move on to dealing with all of the Githyanki inside of Crest Lielak. It was now time for the Underdark, and I started by dealing with the Spectator. I dealt with the Bullet next, then move on to the Arcane Tower to fight Bernard. I made my way over to the Myconoid colony afterwards, and spoke with the Sovereign Spa. He wanted the nearby Dwegar to be dealt with, so I headed down to the decrepit village and dealt with them. I leveled up after fighting them, and went for my 8th level of fighter, and selected mobile for my feat. I went back to talk with the Sovereign Spa, and he thanked me, but asked that I also deal with Near, a draw that is beyond the lake at the decrepit village. I sailed across the lake using the boat at the village, but then ran into another group of Dwegar. I attacked them, then continued across the lake after they were dealt with. Once I reached the other side, I attacked the Dwegar here as well, and after they were dealt with, I freed then attacked Nier. Once I defeated Nier, I returned to the Sovereign Spa with his head. And with all that done, it was now time for Act 2, but that's where the video ends. Now, one fight that I didn't include that I wish I did, which I might go for next video because you can still go back to Act 1 and Act 2, is Grim. But I thought it was because he was immune to bludgeoning, but that's only like before he's superheated. But I do know he is immune to radiant damage, which is why I was like, I don't want to end my, honor run, because this is actually my first time as well going for honor mode completion. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you guys thought in the comments, and make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in Act 2. See you later.
Speakers are blown for my songs, let's get it on. I'm ready for the challenge. The Academy of Dark and Light is all about balance. Life's never perfect. Beauty runs deeper than the surface. Album on sale, but the soul not for purchase. Birth this ill style with mild symptoms against them ecstatic. I'm a shock to the system. Warrior, battle scar, yet these bars hard.